Les Misérables.
Volume 2. Cosette. Book 8th. Cemeteries take that which is committed them. By Victor Hugo. Narrated by Peter Silverleaf. Chapter 1. Which treats of the manner of entering a convent. It was into this house that Jean Valjean had, as Fauchelevent expressed it, fallen from the sky. He had scaled the wall of the garden which formed the angle of the Rue Polonceau. That hymn of the angels which he had heard in the middle of the night was the nuns chanting matins. That hall of which he had caught a glimpse in the gloom was the chapel. That phantom which he had seen stretched on the ground was the sister who was making reparation. That bell, the sound of which had so strangely surprised him, was the gardener's bell attached to the knee of Father Fauchelevent. Cosette once put to bed, Jean Valjean and Fauchelevent had, as we have already seen, supped on a glass of wine and a bit of cheese before a good crackling fire. Then, the only bed in the hut being occupied by Cosette, each threw himself on a truss of straw. Before he shut his eyes, Jean Valjean said, "I must remain here henceforth." This remark trotted through Fauchelevent's head all night long. To tell the truth, neither of them slept. Jean Valjean, feeling that he was discovered and that Javert was on his scent, understood that he and Cosette were lost if they returned to Paris. And then the new storm which had just burst upon him had stranded him in this cloister. Jean Valjean had henceforth but one thought, to remain there. Now, for an unfortunate man in his position, this convent was both the safest and the most dangerous of places. The most dangerous, because as no men might enter there, if he were discovered it was a flagrant offence, and Jean Valjean would find but one step intervening between the convent and prison. The safest, because if he could manage to get himself accepted there and remain there, who would ever seek him in such a place? To dwell in an impossible place was safety. On his side, Fauchelevent was cudgelling his brains. He began by declaring himself that he understood nothing of the matter. How had Monsieur Madeleine got there, when the walls were what they were? Cloister walls are not to be stepped over. How did he get there with a child? One cannot scale a perpendicular wall with a child in one's arms. Who was that child? Where did they both come from? Since Fauchelevent had lived in the convent, he had heard nothing of M. sur M, and he knew nothing.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?